Almighty God is cancelling their deliberations. Amen.
Amen.
We'll go with apologies and absence of leave. It says, we know that Reid is an apology and Councillor Wilden is an apology.
Madam Mayor, just make the opening statement in relation to the podcasting, broadcasting and live streaming of this meeting. While it's a hybrid meeting, our obligations under the disclosure of interest and conflicts of interest and closed council obligations remain in place. I'd like to adhere to those and be respectful in whatever comments and statements, and council accepts no liability for the personal statements made by individuals.
And
Leave
again,
of absence
from Councillor Wilden and
Councillor
thanks, Councillor Noonan and Councillor Elstone. All those in favour? Carried. I'm sure we all wish Councillor Wilden a speedy recovery with his injury.
Still in Wentworth Hospital as of yesterday, councillors. Remain patient and stay.
Okay, disclosures of interest. Is there any in this meeting? No. Okay, confirmations of the previous minutes. So they're in front of you.
A couple of points, so I'm happy to move.
Okay, move Councillor McAllister, second Councillor Elstone. Councillor McAllister.
The page 22, underneath carried, it says McAllister, McKinnon and Elstone requested that their vote against the motion. There's no verb. I'd suggest remove requested that and insert recorded. On page 24, there was a significant pecuniary interest in a rear neighbouring property which I did not declare, and it was DA number 2020/030. I meant to check that on my way into council and I didn't, and I checked it on the way home. So I'm happy to be taken out the back and flogged or whatever other punishment is deemed necessary. That's it.
Okay. We have a movement. I'll put that for confirmation. All those in favour?
Confirmation with
the changes? Yeah. Carried. 6.1, we'll go to outstanding matters from the previous minute.
Sorry, Madam Mayor, can I just get that changed for the record, please, so that it does reflect that there were amendments rather than as circulated. It's a bit hard to read.
For information, Gail's learning the minutes today as official Paul's last meeting, whether she's deemed to find other opportunities elsewhere. So.
That's it.
You're right, Gail. Yeah. Sorry, I can't read that from here. So, Councillor Nichols, can you read it?
Just.
Okay. 6.1 is outstanding matters from the previous minutes. Second,
Madam Mayor, just a couple of questions, if I may.
Are you happy to move it, Councillor Nichols?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's just a couple of items in there, 10.5 for one and 10.2.1, and those, they say they're completed. They're really ongoing because we haven't got a definitive answer on the... We've had no feedback, so it's an ongoing issue until it's actually completed.
10.5, the wetlands one, Councillor Nichols, that's what you're referring to.
Application to seal the road, 10.5 is sealing the road. Application to seal the road from Pooncarie to Menindee.
Oh, hang on, no. So it's not the Baronga wetlands?
No.
No.
Page 38, there's a couple of similar
Oh,
links.
there is another 10.5, yeah.
Yeah, 38. And also, if you look at 10.2.1, it's also an internal policy review to be undertaken and reported to council. It says it's completable. And there is actually no answer to the question you ask about smoking.
Mm-hmm.
It says it's completed, but we don't know what the answer was.
Yep.
I might be able to answer the one about the smoking. I just spoke to the general manager. There was a bit of an issue that I discovered yesterday where the comments were provided, but for some reason or other they haven't actually come across to the to this particular document with regards to 10.2.3, the one with the smoking. So the comments that were and should be in there was that the council policy states that staff should not smoke in areas that are visible to the public, and that's operational policy WF 502. And that policy and the information with regards to that was again conveyed to all staff following the matter being raised at the previous meeting. So all outdoor staff have been reinforced with regards to that policy statement.
Yes, that answer's fine because I did hear that. However, for anybody picking these minutes up and reading them, the answer is not there.
Question, Madam Mayor.
Yeah, Councillor McKinnon?
On 10.2.12 on the sealing of the golf course road, the answer there is when we get the acquisition through. Well, that road has been a road for about 35 years. Isn't there a point in time, once you've been using something and no one's objected to it, it becomes a road?
So you're talking...
Like squatters, if they get in your house and stay there for 7 years, the house is theirs?
Yeah. That's a golf course road, isn't it, Bev?
Yeah, well, the new houses are.
My concern is that the power poles that have gone.
Yeah.
That's all been sorted.
But I think the issue around being old travelling stock, isn't it?
Yes, the travelling stock.
It's part of an acquisition process that's partway through. I hear the sentiment and take the point of all.
Well, let's wait till next meeting and then just do it.
That's a fair point of process, I guess, Councillor McKinnon. Thank you.
That's what I would have reckoned we should do. Otherwise, we'll be there for
I
another
think
10
it
years.
has been discussion in around council's just been notified of some road money that we might look at the priorities assigned to that being the back road between Devon and Wentworth, and whether that is the right target for certain road money or whether golf course road might be more suitable.
I mean,
So I see there's been some work done on the road, so thanks, Glenn. That's improved it, but sealing it would stop all the dust and everything else. It really kicks up down there. There's a lot of traffic.
I came the back way today, and I'd be dead against that because that's been like that for 100 bloody years, and it should be fixed up, and it shouldn't be like it is, and we'll cut off a lot of people zooming around through Coolwa. They'll come straight up the road to anything they might have in Hermione or Durton.
All right, so is there any other?
Yeah, over here. Seeing Councillor Greg Evans not here, he brought up about the skip bin. There's 10.8 on page 38. It says we're looking into CCTV cameras option. He suggested we put normal garbage bins lids on the things, and I think that's an easy, appropriate way of doing it. CCTV cameras, we've got to have somebody to look at it, and does it get done? I just thought that the idea that Councillor Evans had was a appropriate one, and I've seen them in other areas. So it's the lid of a normal wheelie bin, and that's all you can put in it, and it does deter large items then being put in these bins.
I'll let Ken.
Ken, I might be able to answer that. Steve, that's another one with regards to the comments that we'll put in that unfortunately didn't come across to this report.
Yeah.
That's right. The contact has been made with the provider of
Yep.
the bins with regards to that modified bin lid top and access for that reduced area, and yeah, so that's been taken up and underway. So,
Oh, that's good.
as soon as I find out the time of that, I'll report back. So that also has been done with regards to the other comments.
Oh, yeah, okay. Thanks.
Apologies for that information not coming across.
Just in regards to that, do you think that all our skip bins throughout the Shire in those sort of areas should have those sort of bin lids on them because we've just had an issue down at James King Park as well. People have dumped a fridge and a washing machine and everything else around it down there. Should all our bin lids be modified, like, to suit that?
Yeah, that's exactly what
That's the plan, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Another course of action recently taken by council was that there was a similar issue with the boat ramp at Wentworth, for which that bin's been removed.
Yep.
To try and see that, how that impacts on, doesn't impact on the tourists too much, it might impact on the locals, so to speak.
The similar issue with one of the dead boat ramps, basically, a club. People put rubbish near it,
Near.
not as they walk past the free at the window.
And that's,
With my shoulder drawers.
Councillor, that's a concern of mine, because if they can't put it in the bin, they're going to put it on the ground near the bin. So
Yeah.
I don't know whether we're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't. So
You can have cameras now that are camouflage. You can plant them on a tree, stuck to a tree, and they're night vision.
And I think
And I think you could move them around. Yeah, one of
that's
them,
right.
move it around
I
a
think
bit.
the saddest thing is that it's probably not the tourists and the houseboaters people, it is locals that are doing
Well,
it.
the
Because
one
the
that went,
houseboat people might dump one bag of rubbish, but they're not dumping a fridge off a houseboat.
Oh, we can pruning forces.
You know, like, yeah, so I don't think it's the houseboat people that the bins are there for.
Yeah.
It's the locals that are doing it, so.
well, the one at Wentworth, I've seen some large items in there and people failed to take their name off the delivery document.
Madam Mayor, perhaps if we advertised at the beginning of the year that we would have one hard pickup a year, people may hold that stuff and then put it in on that, because it's worked when we've had them.
We're probably due for a hard
Simon, can you recall the cycle of hard waste collection that we do for one?
We've got one in this year's budget.
Perhaps we would advertise it.
Yes, advertising, I agree with
We're just organising some quotes now to.
So that's something we could put out on our Facebook page, on our web, but like that should be advertised out there that within the next X amount of months, there's going to be a hard.
Be advertised on your rate notices that there'll be one hard waste of a year and it'll be on such and such a weekend.
Yeah.
Hard to do.
All right. Is there anything more through these action items? If not, I've had Councillor Nichols move it, Councillor Hayward second it. I'll put it. All those in favour? Carried. 7.1 is my mayoral report. It's as
So
read.
moved.
Thanks, Councillor McKinnon. Thanks, Councillor Elstone.
Question, Madam Mayor.
Yes.
The meeting on the 23rd of June with the Barkingi meeting, can you tell us what happened, please? I see you had 3 people attended.
Playing didgeridoos.
The people that did attend that were invited, so it was Ken, myself and Councillor McAllister. It's a matter of just keeping the doors open with them and keeping things moving forward. In regards to, we spoke about a number of different things, working with them on land titles and native, all that sort of stuff. It's a positive. It was a really positive meeting, Councillor Nichols, and I think just that connection between them and the council to keep things moving forward.
So who represented the Barkingi people?
Well, it was their board meeting, so.
Chief Executive Officer Derek Hardman and
So there was probably 8 of them were there.
Gerald Quayle wasn't there, but it was chaired by Warren Mark at the time, representatives from Betty. Generally, can you remember some of their names? Sorry, please, help me out, Councillor McCallum.
Yeah, I'm just wondering,
There
there's
were
Betty.
about 12, 10 to 12 board members.
Yeah.
Did they raise any issues?
Recognition,
Just,
signage,
yeah, signage and things like that we're going to work together with them on.
state government requirements in relation to funding and opportunities. So, it was a collaborative approach to see that we work with them on all and sundry, basically. So,
And things that were discussed were like down the ski reserve, how they've protected the tree down there and things like that. They were really happy with that, and the Port of New South Wales dealt with them and spoke and all that. So like there was nothing negative there. It was all positive going forward with them.
I guess, Councillor Nichols, there was no promises. It was if they see fit to have further discussion or whatever else, they come to this forum here. So they put things in writing to us. We've had discussions about signage and recognition and other bits and pieces, but that is to be formalised if they deem fit to come back to us as a council and bring that into this.
Because it's just, I don't think all our river crossings yet have the barker put underneath there on the Darling, have they?
One of the things they were asking for within the recognition is on our Shire boundaries.
Yep.
We're Shire, and then
They're Buckingy.
they're Buckingy underneath. And it wasn't they're not requesting anything big or anything like that. It's just, and then we took back to them and said, well, you go and put your font, your style to it, and then bring it back to us and into this forum, and we can have a look at it. So it was just things like that.
That's all right. No,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. All right, I'll put it, all those in favour. Carried. 7.2 is an activity report from Councillor McAllister.
Yeah, I'm happy to move that one.
Move Councillor McAllister.
And just from my part, I spoke about the environmental watering at Bottle Bend Reserve. That was, I think, what I was requested to talk about.
Okay, we have a seconder on the report. Councillor Elstone. There's no further questions. I'll put it. All those in favour? Carried. 8.1 is report from the Communities of Murray-Darling Association Delegates Report.
I'm happy to move that one as well, Madam
Councillor
Mayor.
McAllister. Any questions on this report? Councillor Hayes, do I have a second?
Yeah, on page 54. Page 54. States here that now have already suggestion of inducements of gift boxes. These documents make people participate. Is that correct? Am I reading that right?
So the councillor who suggested that, Mayor Phyllis Miller, also sits on the Local Government New South Wales board, and I think that's something that they had considered because they were changing to or looking at doing a virtual format for the Local Government New South Wales thing. So I think that was just a suggestion that she'd made that they had considered. I don't think we actually agreed on any of the discussion. It was just ideas being tossed around at that stage.
That's the Paul's suggestion. Absolutely bloody Paul.
Yeah, Councillor, if
Isn't
I
that
go,
when you get in trouble when you give gifts?
Well, there's
Bring it back.
Councillor Nick.
can I ask Councillor McAllister a question on the proposed workshop on page 46 on the 27th and 28th of August? Will that progress at this stage, or is it in limbo?
Yes, actually, there was an email which I received yesterday about that happening, and there will be some publicity about that too. So once I have absorbed that email, which I haven't done yet, I'll make sure that gets circulated to councillors as well, so we know what's happening. But there are, and unfortunately it won't, and this point's been made, and I have taken it back to the MDA. You know, these Basin Communities leadership programs are happening on the wrong side of the border, in my opinion, and perhaps our opinion. And I dare say perhaps the seat of Mallee was targeted for some funding from the federal government in line with some of the processes that they have been caught out in lately, but it will service leadership, promotion of leadership in the region. So I guess that's a win, and you know, having some money brought to the area is not going to hurt anyone.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's no further
I've
questions.
just got one
Yeah.
again, Madam Mayor, in relation to this 7.2.
Page
House,
52.
on the street.
Yep.
A team finance already discussed at a regional level.
What's that one?
Um,
The lifeblood.
Buyback and the buyback campaign.
Yes, we did have a discussion about that. We
And
had a
regional.
discussion, yeah, our last meeting.
I've missed the last couple of meetings.
Yeah, unfortunately, you weren't there, and Councillor Hayward missed it at the last minute as well, unfortunately, scheduling conflict. What we discussed was potential motions from this region for the MDA conference, and that was one of them that was brought up. I don't know whether any were decided upon, but council will be meeting on the date of the AGM, so I'll put in an apology for that meeting, so I haven't put forward any motions out of that Region 4 meeting.
Thank you. If there's nothing further, I'll put it. All those in favour? Carried. 9.1 is our General Manager's report.
Move the recommendation, Madam Mayor.
Move Councillor Elstone, second Councillor McAllister. Is there anything you want to say on Ken?
That's pretty much COVID updates.
Anyone
Happy enough to take any
any
questions.
questions on Ken?
I do have a question, actually. I don't know if it relates to any of the information here. Are our playgrounds, public playgrounds and parks open now?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, they're open. We put some indicative sort of warning signs just so that we hadn't sterilised them or something, but that was in the early stages. They're open as per.
There was a staggered opening, as I understand. I just wanted to check that they were all. Yeah, okay, great, thank you.
Just in regards to that, I have just had a phone hookup with Cross-Border Commissioner James Tavish this morning with the councils along the river. And I think we're going to see some big changes back here in New South Wales by lockdowns and things like that, with the way the numbers are going and how, I think we're going to go back into maybe stage 3. They're talking Friday that pubs are going to go back to only 10. Yeah. They're thinking that it has to be a statewide thing and not just a city thing, because they're seeing that this virus can be there yesterday or today, this morning, and be over here by the end of the day. So it's travelling around. They've brought up things like Clonhill's got cases, Shepparton's got cases, Wagga's got cases. Albury-Wodonga's numbers are growing on a daily basis now. Kevin Mack, the Mayor of Albury, they've got big issues down there, people trying to jump the border and all sorts of things. We're pretty good up here. Our border crossing here, and I'll take any feedback from anyone. I think the police and that here have done an amazing job. Huge thing with Abbotsford Bridge being reopened. It's released the traffic flow here. And I just believe that our local police have done an amazing job, and I will also, that's why I've got the opportunity to take this opportunity. Our staff are amazing. So if Gunny, if you can take that back to the staff. We only had a very short period of time from these closures being announced that they had to be closed, and our staff organised absolutely everything from bollards to lights to toilets, you name it, it was there. And what I've listened to from other mayors further down the river, the police, they didn't do it, the police did it all themselves. So I take my hat off to our staff for doing that, and I can tell you that the local police and that here are thankful for what has happened. 20 to 25 extra police in the area came in. So, and now, as you will see, if you've been across the army, have got a present there now too, and to have both those bridges, like there was a soft opening on that Abbotsford Bridge, which was from Wentworth one way, now to be open both ways, and both bridges to be open 24/7 is a big thing. really big thing. All of Wodonga are talking about moving their border and all this sort of stuff, and yeah, so we've got big issues down that way. And even this morning, as much as someone said that they've had cars with Victorian number plates vandalised in Wodonga, like in that area that have come across the river. So people are, yeah, they've got a few issues down there. So, but if anyone is more than welcome to join me, so we have this cross-border link up Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I just come here and link into it. So if anyone's interested and want to have a listen to everyone, all these other councils, so it's the councils from the coast right along. If anyone wants to, we've got time, about an hour or so on the phone, and James McTavish runs it, so yeah, I'll be linking in again. And tomorrow I've got a link up with Mick Fuller, who's the New South Wales Police Commander. So they've been in contact with us all, and they're doing as much as they can for us. Sorry.
Is it a Zoom meeting or phone meeting?
It's, what's that app called?
Teams, Microsoft Teams.
Teams, Microsoft.
Yeah, well, also working sometimes it's linked.
Yeah, so it is interesting to sit and listen to all the other
What days
councillors
today?
talk.
Monday.
What days?
Monday, Wednesday and Friday,
Yep.
and tomorrow afternoon with the police commander from
Yep.
New South Wales. He makes himself available, and that's through Office of Local Government. So yeah, and I get the link through invitation as the mayor, but yeah, if anyone else wants to come and join, you're more than welcome to. It is interesting to listen to with the situation we're in.
Madam Mayor, I think it's great. The two local shops just near the bridge think it's wonderful. However, that's not the question I want to ask. On the 28th of July, we have a internal audit and risk meeting, and I'm wondering why it's by video. We've only got 6 people going to attend it.
Yeah, so
And it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier.
These things are going to evolve every day, Councillor Nichols. That's all because I think we're lucky that we're able to get here today, because I dare say our next council meeting will be by Zoom, the way things are travelling. So,
yeah. But see, that's entirely different to what Gladys said yesterday.
Yeah, no, it's
Entirely
it's
different.
all changing. Like
It's just a daily thing.
everything's changing on a daily basis. So.
The answer to your question, Councillor Nicholas, would be that whatever the public health order says as at the 28th of July is what we'll adhere to. So if it can be like this, we'll do this. We'll do it next week.
I mean, it's a lot easier to ask questions and see people face to face.
We totally understand that.
Trying to go like this.
Yeah, no, we totally understand that, but I suppose it's out of our control when it comes to these things. So. All right. Had a move and second on Ken. Yes. I'll put it. If you have further questions, all those in favour. Carried. 9.2, Murray Darling Association, moving 4 nominations.
I'll move the recommendation. Nominate.
Can I ask you a question, Madam Mayor? I'll second it.
Yeah.
Jane, Councillor McAllister, sorry. Doesn't this rotate? Because I was also the president of the Murray of this some years ago, and it rotated amongst at that stage the 3 councillors. It was the So I'm just sort of wondering, does it rotate?
Yes, it was, and it would have been due to be discussed at our last meeting, which was supposed to be an AGM, but it didn't end up being, so the next AGM will be in September. So that'll be when we'll discuss it. And
I have no problem with putting a hand up if it's Mildura's turn. We should be backing someone from Mildura, I suppose. That's all I'm thinking.
No, so this is just for this council to determine delegates from this council.
Yes, but
and then at the
president too, doesn't it? It says that it also commits to providing resources required to support a regional chair. So we're saying the chairperson, I have no problem with you being it, providing it's not Mildura's turn.
Right, that's right, and that's determined by the member councils at the AGM, which will be in September. Yep. And they may or may not decide that they want to take it on.
Yeah.
And of course, they'll be in caretaker mode, so it may actually not work for them. So, at least until then, and
Yes.
maybe after their election, Wentworth is likely to retain the chair, and then it'll be discussed
I have
whenever.
no problem with that.
All right, so I have a mover, councillor Elstone, second.
Councillor McAllister.
Sorry, lady. Oh, I can't read it. Someone.
So,
It's one. Yeah. But can,
Okay, that's not happening until September. So it's
So
just the first part.
the position of chair is me at the moment, and if this council decides that it should be councillor Elstone or councillor Haywood, then, that's the decision that we're faced with at the moment.
So we need to vote on that recommendation.
So the first one would be, as I understand it, I think, both councillor Elstone and councillor Haywood are also delegates from this council. So the first bit would be the three of us, if those two councillors want to continue in that role. And the second part would be if the council decides that I should continue as chair, or one of the others if they would prefer to do that.
So the question is, councillor Elstone, councillor Haywood, are you still happy to be part of? Okay.
I'll move that those three remain delegates, and I'll move for part two that council nominates councillor Elstone as the chair, if it's within the rules of
It's in the guidelines. Okay, are you right, Gail? Yep. Okay, I have a mover and a seconder. I'll put it. All those in favour?
Councillor Nichols.
I second it.
Councillor McAllister and councillor Nichols.
No, yeah,
Oh, sorry, councillor Elstone and councillor Nichols. Right, and it's carried. Thank you. 1.3 is the monthly financial report.
The recommendation, Madam
Councillor
Mayor.
McAllister, councillor Noonan, questions? Anyone? Yes, councillor Noonan.
Yeah, on page 86, it says that we paid health inspectors right to work. Why are we doing that? How long's it been going on for?
The second part.
Oh, yeah,
First, Malcolm here with us and Stuart Mark come across to us 5 years ago. The agreement was that he wouldn't report into the office first thing in the morning, have file for him to do. That's under review in accordance with your request last month in terms of, we've had a preliminary meeting with the senior officers team and myself in relation to council policies and this particular one and other matters. So,
As far as the March meeting, the total of $5,940 paid. It doesn't say for this gentleman where it says to drive to work, we don't have anything against it. It also said to be paying the waste and water. It's the meter reading. Why would you don't have meter reading? We pay them for the job and then move the contract that would be right, sure. Double money. Because I mean, it's a lot of money to pay somebody when you pay us, it's living to $61,000 to pay overtime. And our total extra accounts for payroll is on $6,700. This stuff pays. Our payroll is significant compared to we're calling up for people to do their job. And I mean, we might know why the health and benefit companies want cars. Staff should leave behind on an RDO and a car. They shouldn't be taking damn cars over with RDOs the next day.
I agree with the sentiments. That was
I think it needs, I never look at that because it's, we pay our big dollars for something to drive our own car out.
Okay. That's a valid point for which we had a discussion as a senior executive team on Friday last
Monday.
this week.
Ask a question of Mr. Rule, please.
Councillor Nichols.
Mr. Rule, does the actual figures that throughout the paper actually show a decrease in finances of around 800,000? Are we going backwards? For an not? Okay, all right, because my figures of adding different figures up in different places show that that's about the figure that I believe we were down.
Yeah, no, there's some, being at the end of June, there's some tiny differences between when we were paid for projects and money going out, and then for then claims coming back in for some of the large projects that we're doing, so.
So they'll pick up.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, there's no further. I'll put it. All those in favour? Carried. 1.4 is the monthly investment report. Councillor Elstone. Councillor McAllister. No questions? All those in favour? Carried. 9.5 is the delegate authority approvals of the end of June 2020.
I make the recommendation.
Councillor Elstone. Councillor Hamilton. Questions?
Comment
Councillor
Yeah, sure.
Question, Madam Mayor.
I just want low numbers.
Still on 21, Councillor.
We'll get you a sneak, most of them 20.
Councillor Nichols, sorry.
Yes, Madam Mayor, on page 94, DA 2020-058, a large storage shed. No problems with this. It's not going to be with the neighbours or overshadowing or anything.
No, I looked at one this morning, Councillor, and that's just a stock standard. Yeah, nothing like we've experienced in the past.
Thank you. Just a lot of money, so it's going to be big.
It's probably more to do with the concrete slabbings and storm drainage and things like that when we build sheds of more of a footprint. Yeah.
I'll put it. All those in favour? Carried. We'll go to questions.
If I could thank you, Madam Mayor.
Oh, sorry, we need a division on that last report. That's everyone. Thank you. Sorry, Councillor.
Yeah, first of all, I comment to young staff to get concrete done in the end so quickly. A lot of positive feedback on that. Also, people thrilled about Golf Links Road sorted. They've had to clip over one of those nice concrete driveways, which was probably protruding too far anyway. That was done very quickly, and a lot of locals are quite pleased with that. I have a question. There's money allocated to clean some sort of screening herbage along the side of the highway, Pump Station Road to Fleet's Float Road ahead. $1,000, I believe, was the figure. When would that be started?
I will have to take that question on that.
I'll answer it. So we talked to the acting team leader of Parks and Gardens. He's trying to come up with a planting or establishment. So yeah,
Something that grows very quickly and very big.
Bougainvillea with it.
So it equally, like those bloody dead vines that junkie developing down towards Fleet's Float Road.
So it's on the acting team leader. So he's working with the school in terms of some things. And I know that's in a further block, but he wants to sort of link it all in together and make it look beautiful on the way.
I might just ask Mr. Gunn about the town plan. Work in progress.
Work in progress, obviously, from the last council meeting we had, in part with that, I suppose, done the work on the lights that were out.
Are they highway code lighting there at the moment or not?
There's a mixture of a number of things in there. Some lights are Essential Energy's responsibility, some lights are council's responsibility. So the audit's been done on all the ones that are not working. Those that are Essential Energy's responsibility being passed on to them for the changeover in maintenance, and the ones with the council's responsibility of there's communications happening with their preferred electrical contractor to repair those in the interim. So the lights are working.
Is that the bollards or they little low bollards?
Mixed. I think they're more the overhead.
Oh, that'll be highway lighting. That should be all highway stuff, nothing to the council.
Some
highway.
Well, I think some of them, because of the lighting type, are actually, from my understanding, some of the council.
Might ask Matthew, the Janstown plan and the consultation you're doing in relation to that, where, you know, when it's up to?
We weren't able to do drop-in meetings or face-to-face consultation. So that was put on the back burner. We're doing a bit more on the strategic part of the strategy at the moment. Before we got to consultation, there's a few things we want to tidy up before we get there. That'll probably be finalised next 4 to 6 weeks, and then we'll probably try to get the consultation done, all in line with COVID and the public health orders and whatever else that we're trying to do.
My last one, could we revisit the speed bumps around Danby? Some hoons are treating Devonport Street as a speedway, from River Road round to Highway in Alexandra Care. That's what the footpath is on. Treating Millie Street as a racetrack, even though there's work done there, putting a bit of a curve out, some culvert things there. They come in and just flatten up towards the highway and jam the bloody brakes on. And also we did something there about adjacent to the pool and down even towards where the old folk cross the road there. There's a pedestrian refuge, but don't see anybody down. They come around up around from past the footy over Flat Stick and they sideways into Millie Street. So I think something to rip the diff out. If we could arrange a nice hydrant. There's some up at School Road not getting used very often, which might be relocated. I don't know why the School Road representatives still use the council.
There's 2 on there, isn't there?
3.
3.
I don't know what they're there.
Just in regards to those questions, who's on our road, when are we do a roads? We haven't seemed to have a roads committee for ages. Maybe it's time we do it.
Well,
Whoever's on it doesn't drive around and.
Roads committee before.
I haven't had a meeting for bloody years.
No, because isn't that how we take stuff back to
Yeah.
RMS?
But what
and
RMS
police?
did, what RMS did last time as well, we do had something like work at the speed of the cars. Now the car said these 2 strips of straight, I think it's an kilometre.
Yeah.
Well, you need to slow down.
Yeah.
So Brett said, no, like 1 car and 1,000 going, that's most of them do about 90.
And we used to have police from Denton
Join
come
them, yeah.
in the
I
meeting,
think
so
Yeah.
they
Might-
push
probably
forward.
should
Get back on the
having-
January.
Get a
having
can
something.
for some reason, we'll discuss that, we've got to put the bed by RMS.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Jeff, you got any detail around the local roads committee and or the traffic committee and how that blended together or something?
I haven't listened at the moment, but I can want some information back on that. There's a number of changes that have happened with regards to representation and our members from Roads and Maritime Services with the change of areas, recent change of areas. So I'll provide that information and come back to you with that committee and the
Do councillors know that we're now being looked after or taken care of out of the Parks Office of RMS or the Transport New South Wales, not out of Port?
I was further away, what happened in Armidale?
Probably wouldn't hurt to, even if we could organise a meeting with the police or something, just to raise our concerns about this, because if, what I'm hearing from the police, if we don't tell them, they don't know, they haven't got eyes everywhere, so I think we should organise something with the police and.
You have a 3 monthly catch up.
Yeah, so maybe we can do.
I think so.
Yeah,
Because that 50 kilometre speed limit is not being policed.
no, all right, well, let's,
Yeah, but
let's,
that-
Well, I came that way this morning and
Well,
I'm sitting on 50.
The thing is, RMS say they can't change those speed limits, yet you go into Euston, you go from 80 to 50, out the other side's the same, you go into Barrel, it all changes, and they're
and we've
saying
had
we
this
can't do it.
conversation with them
There's
for
the answer, I think. We
forever.
can't.
They claim they can't.
They can, and needs to be changed so that the people are not breaking the
Agreeing with
rules.
you, I'm saying, that's their easy answer.
Yeah.
We can't do it.
We've got some stupid reason you can't go from 60 to 50.
Yeah.
You go into Naranda, it goes from 60 to 50 over the bridge and back up to 60 and through the town.
And then there was something we spoke to them about, and they don't want to have 100, 80, 60 or 50, too many different speeds. I reckon it just makes it easier for them to police because they don't have to think about where they are.
Go from 8 to 50,
So
through the town back up to 80.
I think we should note that we
Right, and, you
we'll
know,
have a meeting and do it. Any more, councillor?
no further questions.
Thanks.
Can I
Councillor?
just ask on council units, if I've had a discussion, we can give an order to get a house cleaned up. We can't do it on farmland. Come up the other day, drove past it and thinking that the tech hope that something will. Really, why can't they just, a couple of hours on a little doze, tractor the bucket and clean it up and burn it, just look 200%.
I can ask that question. Council can issue an order on farmland for specific activities. If it's dead citrus trees or vines or anything to do with agriculture, viticulture, horticulture, not really, because it's permitted use under that land zoning. If it was, say, for example, stacked rubbish, burnt out vehicles, and accumulation of rubbish and that sort of thing, yes, definitely, we have absolutely every right under the sun to. But because it's the citrus and its plants and its vegetation as related to that, you'd be very hard pressed to.
Those are the ones that pushed over and lying there.
Same thing. It's still legal use of the land, even though it's unsightly. It's still a legal use of the land, and it's actually not. And it's also not in a fire protection zone. It's actually not flood prone. So there's really no other risks to health where we could go under bushfire control orders or whatever it may be.
We might try a personal approach and see if we can.
Thurman?
Well, I think if they're pushed over there, I think there's intent to
Well,
clean it up.
if you're talking about the area that I think you are, I have been told that it's going to get done.
That's the one that actually do further.
Cool.
Yeah. Is that what you're talking?
No, that's one area that they're
Yeah,
fine.
we're talking about the one up there.
Oh, sorry, I was talking about the one.
Both are nice.
So,
Yeah, they have been told, I've heard that they're going to push their citrus up and that's going to be done.
so that we're talking about the houses now, if that becomes a junk heap, you can, because I've got a one that the person's a hoarder and I think goes to every clearance sale and the carport's full and it's come out and it's all around the house. And if a fire started there, the house and everything's gone up.
And squalor and hoarding in itself, councillors, it's a very sensitive topic because most of the time you'll find with squalor and or hoarding, usually the people either have some sort of mental health disorder or they will have some sort of acquired brain injury or something. There's actually something not quite right and they do need that professional assistance. Now, that doesn't stop us from issuing the legal notices and things to get the place cleaned up. But we just have to do it in a more sensitive way. That's all.
Yeah. Now, Matt, you can tell Councillor Noonan that there has been the thing sent for the flats at the back.
Oh, Neilpost Street.
Neilpost Street, yes. So
what can you tell us? What can you tell us about that?
So the units at Neilpost Street. So I have spoken with the owner late last week. I spoke with the real estate agent last week. They've confirmed there are squatters living in the units. It's gone to the point where we're going to have to get police and possibly the sheriff's office involved to remove those people. A notice has been issued on that to get it cleaned up and brought it back and clean up the rubbish and everything else. The owner asked for an extension on the notice. We refused it. And we said, no, we're going to issue the order when the notice expires. And he's, unfortunately for the owner is that he is in one of the lockdown areas in Melbourne. So he's relying very heavily on his real estate agent to do a lot of this work for him. The unfortunate part for his real estate agent is that there has been no rental income, so she's effectively working for free. So it's a bit of a hard situation that we're just trying to resolve as quickly as possible.
I think it's one of those things. I know that all the clients were giving some orders to vacate.
Yeah,
None of them have, and I don't think it's been before the actual tribunal yet.
That's correct. So the real estate agent issued the eviction notices. I think that was done a while ago, but I'm not sure what the result is. But that's to do with the rental tribunals and sheriff's departments and everything else. So that's on their part.
Thank you. Thanks for the feedback. I just
Thank you.
thought, Councillor Noonan would like to hear that.
I was going to seek a supplementary question. Track, but
Councillor Hayward, any questions?
No.
No, Councillor Nichols?
We probably need to be careful with that house business because council's in control of one of them. I'll tell you where after. A couple of things. First of all, the Google is telling our ratepayers that this library is open until 12 o'clock on Saturdays. Wasn't open until 12 o'clock last Saturday, and the person who rang me had to get the information from our security people. So that's probably not very good. Our ratepayers need to be able to find out of our own resources. So can we have that changed? Okay, thank you. Take that one off. The special barbaric, I think the barbaric chairs that we ordered months ago, have you got, they're the big ones, so we've got them, that's okay. Thought that could be answered. Fine. Culver Hall. I've got a couple of answers on this. The old hall was declared unsafe, not suitable for habitation. Why is it still there? And I know some of the tin on it is good, but who's going to pay for what's left after the growers take away what they want and so on and so forth? Because it's the windows are open, people can go out there, they could fall in, someone could break a neck, and who then becomes liable? The new hall has one rainwater tank to it, and I'm wondering if that's sufficient. And did we look at getting solar on that roof of that building? And there is no furniture. So what's the expenses going to be there? They're the sorts of things that come back to bite us when we've done something and we haven't finished it. So can I have answers on those questions, please? And the other one is that how long is it since we've had a sewage inspection on the major pipes on Darling, Adams and Beverley Streets? Some of our sewage drains are up to the lid, blocking back into residents' places, and they're having to have plumbers out to fix them. And I know one was checked last week by some of our people. This has come from a plumber, by one of our people. He cleared the pipeline to the property, came back 3 days later, and the pipeline to the property was again half full and wouldn't take away what was there. So, and the comment that I got was that some of them have been fixed where there've been some squeaky wheels. So, how long is it since we've had a major sewage inspection of those pipelines? We're putting millions of dollars into new pipelines, and the comment that he made was virtually that these pipelines are old, stuffed. So,
I just need in addition to council to Mr. Young, could it be part of like people using those, flushing those wipes down, which is causing massive issues all around the world with sewage blocks, all these great slugs of stuff.
Could be like, well, we're continuously continuing to maintenance and blockage-related issues where people dispose of materials such as that, which shouldn't be there, but they're just department-wide to council. We do have a series of condition inspections with regards to various pipelines, whether they be water or sewer, for future upgrades and to monitor the conditions of those pipes. And we have a series of those that are listed for future capital works, and also that work is done to do some proactive repair work, as well as the day-to-day issues that arise from maintenance blockages or repair or damage to our systems. So we will definitely follow up on those particular.
Yeah, if you follow up on those areas of when they happen, because the comment of this plumber made to me was, the people in the houses get sick of it, so they pay to have theirs cleared out, and no sooner do they have it done than it's back again. They're having trees and things taken out because of it. And he said those streets specifically are bad, and so I'd like to know when the three of them had had a major inspection and where they went to from one to the other because I know specifically with water, where I live, they used to do the drains out, not where I live, but out the front, you'd see it, and you'd see it done regularly. The last time it was done was when somebody else in the complex complained about the smell of water and so on and so forth. So what we're not doing, I don't know, because that's in the hollow and that's where the water used to come. So you know when it was being done. You see it happening up the street. You see water running down the street, but there's nothing coming into that. That's just with water. I don't know what the sewage is doing.
Yep.
Just to answer the first question there, Councilman, partially at least, I'm assuming that the first hole you mentioned is the Curlo Memorial Hall, is that correct?
Which?
Yeah, the Curlo Memorial Hall. That the first hole you mentioned, the first part of your question, around the Curlo Hall?
Yes, Curlo Hall, yes.
Memorial Hall. The reason probably why it's still there is actually listed as a local heritage item in our LEP. So, yeah.
We're not going to leave it sitting in that.
No. So what we can do in that circumstance is we can probably send Council's building inspector up to just double check everything is unsafe as we think it is. Then we can actually come back to Council for resolution to remove it, and actually because I have to do that in line with our local heritage.
Look, I've been told that the new iron and stuff that's on it was put there by the growers, and I have no problem with that disappearing and going away. But you know, when you go out there and you look at something like that, because we're not visiting things and seeing them, and you look at the new one, there's this piddling little rainwater tank.
That's actually not rainwater. It's only coming off the pipeline to supply water.
In that case, that's worse still. If there's no rainwater tank with a roof that size, you know, these are the things that they come back to bite us, because I know when this building here was 800,000 and went out to be 1.8, you know, this is the reason that we blow out all the time, because we're not getting the full total odds of what something's going to cost. Yeah.
Okay,
thank you. That's all. Thank you.
Councillor McKinnon?
No.
No. Sorry, Councillor Hayden.
It's something that's not to do with our council, but the roadside stop up near Coomber on Lake Poplar, caravans been complaining to me, or people travelling from Broken Hill, that there's a lot of rubbish accumulating there, and they think it's Wentworth Shire, but our boundary finishes. So is it RMS or is it? It's in the unincorporated area, but
State governments, I assume, it's our highway maintenance doesn't go past our boundary.
No. I thought, can we?
The highway maintenance team from Broken.
They don't seem to be cleaning up rubbishes, and people think it's ours because they think it's from Coomber down as belongs to Wentworth Shire, and it sort of puts a bad thing on our shire.
A lot of people don't understand that
Yeah.
Okay, Councillor McKinnon, you said no?
Yep.
Yeah, sorry. Councillor McAllister?
I have one, Madam Mayor. Just some time ago, the Bottle Bend Reserve land manager had a road report done on the ingress, turning lanes into and out of Bottle Bend. Considerable safety issues. I'm just wondering whether we've had any feedback, whether council sent that off, or whether where it's at.
Yes, that was raised with Traffic New South Wales and the road safety officer at the, I can't remember whether it was the last meeting or the meeting before, with, we had I'll follow up and
Would appreciate that. Yeah, there's obviously at the moment, I did mention there's some environmental water happening, so there's a lot of as people are driving by, kind of slowing down to have a look. And as we know, when there's lots of walkies happening, there's potential for more accidents. The concern for the land manager group is that once it opens up and a lot of people can get back in there, it's closed at the moment while the watering is finishing. that there will be more traffic, as, you know, Mungo and Menindee have seen. And, you know, we'd really hate to have a death on our hands. So it'd be great if we could follow
I
that up.
understand that some line marking was done to extend the barrier lines, the double lines, either side of that entry exit to Bottle Bend.
I don't remember seeing it, but I'm not sure that's going to stop anyone coming down the hill that sees it pulling up.
Will they be breaking the law if the double lines have been put in place? That was my understanding of certainly part of one of the items to be put in place to improve safety at that particular section.
Yep.
And I know the line marking people were there some time back. I'll confirm if that's been done.
That's one thing, but obviously the issue is not only grey nomads, but campers having had a really lovely relaxed time exiting from Bottle Bend onto the highway where it's 100, and I think it just changes from 110 just further up eastward, sorry. You know, there's potential for collision there. We're really concerned. We'd like to get that moved on if we could. Turning lanes would be helpful, I think, in ameliorating that issue. Appreciate that. Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's all I've got.
Councillor Elstone?
No, Madam Mayor.
Good, all right. Okay, can I ask if we can please go into adjourn into close?
We need to go to Wentworth, though, because it says in the meeting. I will move that the press and public be excluded from this meeting and broadcast terminated. Discuss the confidential matter before us, and that any documents and reports remain confidential.
Okay, and if we need a quick toilet break?
Only one thing.
Sorry, one thing coming from not anyway.
Seconded for that.
Seconded, Councillor Elstone. All those in favour?
I'll move recommendations 1 and 2 are done. Don't have any against me.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to move an alternate motion.
Oh, Lord. Sorry, go on, Councillor.
I move that the press and gallery be read and the webcast be recommenced. Resuming open council, and that the matters decided in closed session be ratified in open council.
Second that.
Councillor Elstone. All those in favour? Carried. Ken, you want to put these, what we're passing closed into being the, what is it, number it is?
In relation to the first item in
Right, we're done.
Yes. It's done. What's wrong?
It was cold this morning.
Okay. After you've done that, I'll read that, and you're right to flip to the next one. All right. For the information of the public, council in its closed session this morning has accepted a tender for private servicing to carry out the supply, delivery and replacement of bitumen, asphalt and line marking for the contract in the amount of $1.023 million, including GST, and authorises the Mayor and General Manager to sign the contract documentation and affix the council seal. In relation to a mayoral minute, the council resolved that the resolution of the council of the 22nd of April be recognised as the direction of this council, and council provides funding up to $170,000 to enable CHAC to establish an operating medical clinic in Wentworth in line with the proposal as presented to council, and that the additional allocation be funded from the savings within the salaries budget. That's being all the business carried out in closed council.
Thank you. And That will be the conclusion of the meeting.
Right. Adios.
Thanks, Councillor McKinnon, and
Take well
the next
done.
meeting is the
See you, mate.
19th.
See you later. Bye.
Yes, Dom.
Thanks, bye.